Hello and welcome to this edition of the news. Well, the Prince of Wales, Charles Philip Arthur George, has arrived in New Delhi on a two-day visit here. He is accompanied by the Duchess of Cornwall, Camilla Parker Bowles. The visit is aimed at strengthening bilateral ties between the two nations. The Prince is scheduled to meet Prime Minister Narendra Modi and discuss a wide range of issues. His visit is part of a 10-day four-nation tour to Singapore, Malaysia, Brunei and India. And joining us now on the phone line is our correspondent Siddhant Sibal for more on this story. Siddhant, well, Prince Charles with the Duchess of Cornwall have arrived in India. Give us a sense of the significance of this visit.
Well, Rukma, the Prince will be meeting the Prime Minister like 15 minutes away from the time I'm speaking with you. He will be meeting with the Prime Minister at the Hyderabad House. And of course, a lot of things will be in focus. This is the ninth visit of the Prince of Wales, and it's aimed at strengthening the bilateral relations between the two countries, and it's part of the 10-day long visit, as you've already mentioned, to Singapore, Malaysia, Brunei, and finally here in India. Well, currently I can just give you the fact that India-UK trade stand at $12.19 billion, and India is the third largest investor and second largest international job creator in the UK. And India is an important partner today for the UK, given the fact that Brexit has created a lot of anxiety in UK itself. And of course, there are talks about UK-India FTA also. And let me tell you that the Indian diaspora in the United Kingdom is one of the largest ethnic minority communities in the country. We know the contributions made by the Indians in UK society, in its culture, and of course, who can forget chicken tikka? The British just love it, and now even claiming that that's a British dish. But of course, other thing is the fact that next year the UK will be hosting the Commonwealth Heads of State meet, that's the CHOGM meet. That's very important, and given the fact that currently CHOGM, it seems to be losing its vigor, the UK wants India to play an important important role in revitalizing the whole grouping, and for that they obviously want that Prime Minister Narendra Modi visits the country next year to the United Kingdom, because there the yoga meet is going to happen. So that is one of the aim, and of course a lot of issues will be discussed. Climate is one thing that is going to be discussed, sustainable development goals, economic cooperation, these are other things. And remember, India has been closely and increasingly intertwining its own flagship programs and its own development needs with the foreign policy. And India has a number of flagship programs like the Smart Cities program, like the Digital India. And increasingly, if you take a look at all the visits by the foreign leaders, they have been talking about how they want to contribute. We know the bullet train is being built by the Japanese, and of course, a lot of investment from France and Britain coming for India's Smart City project. So that is one thing that can be discussed, that will be discussed. Of course, it's a short visit, 2-day visit. The Prince and the Duchess leaves tomorrow. So a lot of events are also organized, a lot of cultural events are also organized. Tomorrow, the Prince will be paying homage to the soldiers at the India Gate, and then there, of course, will be a celebration at the British High Commission. So these are the things which will be in nutshell discussed. But if we look at the broader picture, there has been increased visit by the Europeans to India. We saw that India-EU summit taking place earlier last month. And of course, since then, there has been the visit by the Italian Prime Minister, the Belgian King just visited yesterday, and now, of course, Prince Charles visiting. So increasingly, in an increasingly changing world, India is, and of course the world, various countries are looking for new partners, and Europeans are eager to embrace India as a new partner in a changing world. And India, with its democratic, open society, with its liberal values, is a perfect partner for Europe. And for that, a lot of things have been focused. There have been buzz about the fact that the India-EU FTA talks are due to begin soon. And remember, just few hours ago, we just got to know that the French foreign minister will be visiting India next month in December. The International Solar Alliance Summit is going to take place in New Delhi, and for that, the French President Mr. Macron will be visiting India, his first visit. Remember, earlier this month, Earlier this
Right.
year, actually, the prime minister visited 4 European countries, including France, Spain, Russia, and of course he has been to Germany. He 2 times he visited Germany this year. First, of course, the bilateral visit, and then, of course, the visit for the G20, in which the 20 of the top economies of the world took part in Hamburg. So we can see increasing engagement between India and Europe and various countries in Europe. And of course, this visit coming at this time, and of course, the focus will be on issues like economic development, which I've already focused.
Right. Right, Siddhant, as you said, the Prince of Wales here to invite, also as news reports are telling us continuously, to invite the Prime Minister for the CHOGM to be held in the UK. Clearly an indication of how important India is in terms of the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting.
Yes, clearly, of course, India plays an important role when it comes to program and other groupings, new groupings being formed, and of course, playing an important role in G20 also, where India has been playing a vital role when it comes to fight against the issue of black money. India's role, we know the fact that in this year's G20 was very important when it comes to the issue of black money. In Prime Minister Narendra Modi, in his intervention, raised this issue also, the issue of black money. And of course, the Chogam Commonwealth grouping is a grouping which is made up of the countries which are governed by the British. And of course, this grouping has continued, but increasingly losing its vigor, because India, remember, is one of the largest countries in Chogam, and the British want India to play a leading role now, and India on its part wants that the Chogam should be governed decentralized actually, and not governed from London itself. So that is one of the demands which India has focused, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi has been to the UK, and in which he met the Queen also. So this visit is part of that engagement itself. This visit as a reciprocal visit coming, the Prince of Wales visiting India is a kind of a reciprocal visit to that visit by Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
Right, and as you said earlier, climate change, even as the world, as the climate change situation worsens, more and more countries are looking to India to take the lead in this regard.
Well, yes, climate change is an issue that, of course, is its topmost priority for every government in the world. And as we speak, there is a meet, COP23, the UN COP Conference of Parties taking place in Bonn in Germany. And this, of course, focuses on various issues. The Environment Minister is there in Bonn, and of course, India has put its own view that developed countries should now take a major lead when it comes to the entire issue of climate change. The Paris climate deal, we all know there is a worry about climate change also. So these are the things which of course will be focused when it comes to the issue of climate change.
Right, and when we talk about the Prince's agenda during these 2 days, could you enumerate them for us?
That I've already enumerated. The focus, of course, will be climate change. The focus will be economic development. The focus will be how India can be part of Britain's growth at a time when Britain is dealing with its own anxieties, such as the Brexit, and more of the transparency issue also, because increasingly globally the world is converging on the fact that the issue of black money, the issue of transparency in international governance, particularly in the light of the Paradise Papers, which were leaked or printed by various organizations, of course, coming from the International Consortium of Journalists, Investigative Journalists. So these will be the issues which will be on the agenda, and of course, Prime Minister will be hosting a dinner for the visiting dignitary, the Prince of Wales, here at the Hyderabad House immediately after his handshake. These are the agendas, and of course, Britain and India have a lot of things in common, and especially the diaspora connect, which which connects both Britain and India. A lot of Indians have been there. I mean, the third generation Indians. Even I have a lot of relatives in England. That is one thing that is connecting India and of course Britain. And Britain have been the Indians in Britain have been playing an important role. After this visit, the mayor of London is also expected to visit India. Maybe the dates are not out, but maybe in December. So we can expect a lot of things to be discussed, but we know from these high-level visits that India plays an important role when it comes to international politics. And for UK also, India is an important player in the world. Immediately after the Brexit, a lot of ministers from Britain visited India. The British Prime Minister also visited India, Theresa May, and also took part in a lot of events here. So this visit, part of that, and this visit, of course, part of the royal visits. We have seen a lot of royal visits happening in November. The first visit, the month started with the visit of the King and Queen of Bhutan, and then we saw the King and Queen of Belgium visiting India, and now the Prince of Wales visiting India.
Right, and as you say, it's a visit that happens in the backdrop of Brexit, and even as the entire world now is more and more concerned about black money and transparency in financial dealings, as also tax evasion. We just saw how the Paradise Papers were leaked, and well, a lot of sensational discoveries. Even as the Indian government, the present Indian government, is stressing more and more on the importance of black money and revealing black money and curbing it.
Well, India, on its part, globally, on global forums, have been discussing about black money, and the biggest forum has been the G20 forum. Remember, Prime Minister Narendra Modi's first G20 summit that took place in Brisbane in Australia, where Prime Minister talked about black money. From that to the latest G20 summit, which happened in Hamburg, India has been focusing on all these issues of black money transparency in international governance. We have been renewing and having new double taxation avoidance agreements with new countries. Immediately after the Paradise Papers were released, the CBDT chairman said that under the DDTA, that double taxation avoidance treaty with Bermuda, that's the country where the law firm Appleby is located. India might use that DDTA to get the more details about the people. Remember, 700 Indians have their names in the list. So India has been very vocal when it comes to internationally on the issue of black money. And if we rewind little, the entire thing started from 2007, immediately after the financial crisis which began. And after that, there has been a momentum not only from New Delhi but from across the world, specifically on the safe havens such as Cayman Islands, Hong Kong, Bermuda. So this has been the focus of India wherever it's possible. And the other issue I might just add is the issue of terror. And that is one thing, because in UK we know Vijay Mallya, the big case which is in right now, which will take its hearing will take place in December 4th. That hearing is very important. That might also be discussed.
Right, and when we talk about economic cooperation, India is the third largest investor for the UK, a very strong presence and there could be a lot of agreements signed in this regard.
Well, agreements are not expected. Many agreements are not expected, but of course, what is expected is the reviewing of bilateral trade, bilateral ties between both the countries. And let me just add the fact that Prime Minister has arrived at Hyderabad House, so within few minutes we will have that big handshake between the two leaders, the Prince and the Prime Minister. So, of course, India, coming back to the point, India has been playing its important role in the trade relation with UK, and especially so when the UK has decided to leave the European Union after the Brexit.
Right, and as you just tell us, the Prime Minister, likely to meet Prince Charles just in a short while from now at Hyderabad House. and we'll be taking you live there for that meeting between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Prince Charles and the Duchess of Cornwall, who are here on a 2-day visit. Well, discussions are likely to be carried out between Prime Minister Modi and Prince Charles on a wide range of issues, and we're talking here with our correspondent Siddhant Sibal. Siddhant, what more details can you give us? When exactly is this meeting expected?
Well, that meeting is expected anytime soon, maybe like 10 minutes from now or maybe 5 minutes from now. And as I've already narrated the important things, India is the third largest investor in the UK. The UK ranks 18th as a trading partner of India and the third after US and Japan as an investor. There have been many bilateral trade agreements between the two countries. I can give you an example. In 2005, the Joint Economic Trade Committee was inaugurated in New Delhi. It aimed at boosting two-way bilateral trade. The growth of India's multinationals have contributed greatly to UK's business and economy. As well, as of now in 2014, Indian companies in UK generated over 19 billion pounds. They've also employed more than 1 lakh people in the UK. Then the Tata Group alone employs more than 55,000 people in the UK. So this is a great deal given the fact that both UK and India have been helping out each other when it comes to economy. So these are the important things which I can tell you. And let me just tell you that the former British Prime Minister David Cameron described the Indian-British relationship as a new special relationship in 2010. So you can obviously know that how important this visit is for India and of course for Britain.
Right, so Prince Charles has arrived in India. It's to be a 2-day visit here. He is expected to meet and shake hands with Prime Minister Narendra Modi in just a few minutes from now. We're talking with our correspondent Siddhant Sibal, who's covering this, and in a short while we'll be taking you live across to Hyderabad House to witness that handshake between Prime Minister Modi and Prince of Wales, Prince Charles. Well, Siddhant, coming back to you once again, the Indian diaspora in the UK has played a very important role and continues to do so even now. It's a very important presence there, which makes ties between the two countries all that more important.
Well, that's the one thing that connects India and Britain. The Punjabis, of course, in Britain have played an important role in culture, in the food, in dance. Well, Bhangra is an important dance in Britain now, and of course Indians have also contributed economically in the country. But culturally, of course, we have seen a lot of movies also, like very famous movies which we all have heard, and of course the chicken tikka masala, which has come out as the top UK favorite meal. The dish originated, of course, from the Punjabi community in Britain. So these are the things which, of course, we know is important. And of course, there are 9,000 restaurants located across the UK, which actually equates to 1 per 7,000 people. Well, the popularity of the Indian curry is known also from the fact that curry is also now considered a British food. So these are the important things that Indians have contributed to Britain culturally and when it comes to the food also.
Right. So the Indian diaspora has always contributed very much a part of Britain as it exists today. The ethnic minority, as Siddhant was just telling us, and here we are telling you about Prince Charles, who's just arrived in New Delhi, and he will be shaking hands with Prime Minister Narendra Modi in a short while from now. We'll be taking you live across to witness that handshake at Hyderabad House. And we are talking with our correspondent Siddhant Sibal, who's covering this event live. We were just showing you those visuals of the Prince and the Duchess of Cornwall arriving there at New Delhi. Well, from India's point of view, how would India be looking at this visit, Siddhant?
Well, India will be looking with great expectations from this visit because last year when we saw, before that actually, when we saw Prime Minister Narendra Modi visiting England, Britain, that visit is very memorable. We saw those visuals. We saw those visuals. Prime Minister, of course, meeting the diaspora there. That big diaspora meet which happened in London, where a lot of Indians actually came to see the Prime Minister. It's now a mainstay in a sense. It's a permanent fixture when Prime Minister goes to any other country. He goes and meet the diaspora, and diaspora in England is one of the largest and major contributors to the British society. So, of course, that is one thing that connects, and of course, that is one thing which everyone will looking. A lot of expats living here in Delhi, a lot of British expats living in Delhi. So these are the things which connect and of course contribute to the healthy relationship which India and Britain has. And earlier we were talking about how Indians have contributed to the culture, to the tradition there. And I can actually name some movies also like Dilwale Dulhaniya Le Jayenge and Jab Tak Hai Jaan. All these movies were shot in England, and their storyline was a British Indian or British Asian, their life, their connect with the country, they coming to India, and of course that connect always remains whether you are second generation, first generation Indian there in Britain. You have this connect for your own country also in India. So that has been the theme of these movies. An Indian coming to from Britain to India, and of course learning new things, and of course have this nostalgic connect. So these are the things which connect India and Britain, and of course this visit coming as part of the 10-day visit. And of course I can also point out the fact that when we saw the visit by Prime Minister Narendra Modi to the UK, we saw Prime Minister meeting the Queen, and of course the diaspora was very happy. There were a lot of events where Prime Minister Narendra Modi went, and of course the visuals, I mean that of course still people remember.
Right, and Prince Charles himself, this is, as you mentioned earlier, his 9th visit to India. Clearly, he has a very strong connect with India and her public.
Well, Prince Charles has a strong connect with India. His 9th visit, that shows how important India is for Britain. And of course, I can actually remember a visit by the Prince Charles to India in which he was accompanied by the late Princess Diana. They were to be to Agra. But what happened? Some engagements happened, and Princess Diana was there in Agra. Everyone remembers those visuals also. So now the visit coming, the 9th visit, the focus of course is how Britain and India can increase their engagement, can of course talk about common things such as counter-terror, such as economic development, such as low-hanging fruit, such as investments, and investments particularly at a time when Britain needs more investments from the world, because London, it seems, there is a fear that London might lose its financial status tag, because now when it leaves Britain, a lot of companies will be eager or having this anxiety that they might not get all those benefits of free movement of people across Europe to London. So a lot of people are thinking to move their base from London to Paris. So that is one fear. And of course, at this time when India is a growing economy, one of the largest growing economy is in the world, we saw that ease of doing business report coming out showing that how it's easy to do business, and India jumping by a massive 30 points, coming at that 100 level, which has been lauded by the World Bank also. World Bank saying that it's unprecedented, and actually it's unprecedented. Usually countries just jump by 1 or 2, 3 points. India jumping by a massive 30 points. So India saying that India is open for investors. This report says that India is open for investors. They can come invest in India, rolling out the red carpet, and of course there is less of red tapeism and more of red carpet for the investors. The British investors can come here, invest in India. India offering a lot of opportunities for the British investors in terms of easy rules, in terms of investment, in a sense that if you have to open a company now, it will take less of time, less of problems, more and more things digitized, digital now. So that is what an investor wants. He doesn't want problems. hiccups or some kind of hurdles. So India is now trying to play a global role in terms of an investment destination, and this visit can play an important role. And we have seen a lot of visits coming from Europe, as I've already told you, visit by the Belgians, visit by the Italian Prime Minister, and visit by the Italian Prime Minister was lauded specifically, given the fact that the ties were not doing so well, particularly after that Kerala incident in which two Italian mariners killed Indian fishermen in the waters in the coast near Kerala. So that case had given some kind of hiccups for the India-Italy ties, and this visit coming after a decade by the Italian Prime Minister. Last time an Italian Prime Minister visited India was 2007, and now this visit happening earlier this year, actually on 31st of October, and now the visit by the British Prince, who is heir to the throne of the Britain. So that is one thing that shows the symbolism behind ties between India and Britain.
Right, close ties between India and Britain likely to get stronger even as Prince Charles and the Duchess of Cornwall arrive in New Delhi. We're talking with our correspondent Siddhant Sibal, who's covering the event live. In a short while from now, we'll be taking you live across to Hyderabad House, where Prince Charles is likely to meet Prime Minister Narendra Modi and shake hands. The two are likely to discuss a number of issues centering around climate change, economic cooperation, bilateral ties, and much more. India and Britain have always had very good ties, and these ties expected to get stronger with this visit. Siddhant, we're talking about investment, how much the UK needs India now and investment in its country. Already India, as we mentioned earlier, is the third largest investor in the UK. It's also one of the second largest international job creator there. Jobs as such in the UK. So the United Kingdom would be looking for a lot from this visit.
Well, United Kingdom, of course, will be looking a lot from this visit. This visit comes as a background of the Brexit, and Brexit, of course, has shook not only UK but shook Europe also, because a major member of the European Union leaving the European Union obviously sent shock waves across Europe and to the Brussels. And for that, of course, everyone is looking for new partners. Europe is looking for new partners. Britain is looking for new partners. And at this juncture, the area which is seeing the massive growth in the world is the Indo-Pacific area that involves India being a major player, and India with its liberal democratic values, which of course suffice the European values, also looks like the best friend for the Europeans and for the Britishers, and that is why we have seen so many visits coming by the Europeans and of course by the Britishers. This visit coming by the British Prince of Wales, and let me just tell you that during the last visit by the Prime Minister to the UK in November 2015, the reconstituted India UK CEOs Forum also held its meeting at the Downing Street. That's the headquarters of the Prime Minister of Britain. And of course, in his opening remarks, the then Prime Minister David Cameron referred to Prime Minister's vision and intent for transforming India. In his address, the Prime Minister spoke about the historical and the complementarity between the two countries. The Prime Minister said that economic ties are extremely important element of the relationship between the two countries. He referred to Union government's initiatives such as Make in India, emphasizing on infrastructure, opening of FDI in various sectors, and commitment towards 50 million new houses by the year 2022. And of course, renewable energy. The Prime Minister also said that the British companies, their investment in India will be a win-win partnership for both the countries. British leaders from both India and the UK signaled their commitment to improving the trade, investment and economic collaboration between both the countries. And of course, the business members